Welcome back to VTFC Shorts. These quick concept lessons act as companion pieces to our full Von Tolstat Fight Club episodes. Here we cover techniques in just a few minutes that you can use to improve your fencing right now. If you've been keeping up with our video series, then you know that we place emphasis on gaining an advantage over our opponent's weapon, specifically closing a line of attack while we have a stronger portion of our sword positioned over a weaker portion of our opponent's sword. In today's video, we're going to discuss the reasons why we gain our opponent's blade, as well as a few options for taking advantage of the most likely actions our opponent will take from this position. To start with, when we say gaining the blade, we mean that we have closed or partially closed a line of attack with our forte position near our opponent's AA. Here is an example of what a gain looks like from the high inside line. You can learn how to do this by checking out episode 3 of our series. Notice that my point is crossing over the top of my opponent's blade, aimed up and just outside of presence. A stronger part of my blade is positioned over a weaker part of theirs. I have just a bit of my true edge aimed toward their blade in a hand position between terza and quarta. Very importantly, my AA is up and away from my opponent's forte. I am also not pressing on their sword. I am gently placing my weapon in this position. Do not push. Now that we remember what gaining the blade looks like, let's talk about some theory. Why do we do this? From this position, my opponent cannot attack on this line without passing through my forte, which makes it very easy for me to parry if they do decide to attack this line. I can even thrust them in opposition in a single time riposte action if they attack the line. When I gain my opponent's weapon, I limit their options. I'm essentially forcing them to make an action if they want to attack me or save themselves. This is exactly why we gain the blade. My opponent may react to me gaining their blade in a variety of ways. If they do nothing, I can simply thrust them in opposition on this gained line. If you gain the blade with subtlety and smoothness with no pressure, you can often gain and thrust in opposition in a fluid manner as your opponent is shocked that you are suddenly hitting them. This is not always the case though. Most of the time, your opponent will make one of 4 actions when you gain their blade. They will press against your blade, they will disengage, they will roll around and try to do a hook shot in seconda, or they will retreat. Each one of these actions are tempos where you can take a new advantage or hit your opponent in the time that they are making the action. If the opponent presses against your blade to try and gain the line back, you can disengage and thrust them under their sword as you step offline. If they disengage to free their blade or hit you in a new line, you can hit them in the time of their disengage by thrusting in opposition as their point dips down. Notice as I roll my hand to seconda and I catch their blade with my edge as they come up on the other side. If they try to roll to seconda for a hook shot, you can create a wall by lifting your forte high with blade opposition as you hit them in a single tempo. If they retreat, great, they can't hurt you. When they do go away, gain a new advantage and proceed back to the decision tree. These are not the only actions that your opponent can make, but they're some of the most common. In actuality, your opponent may do just about anything, but any action they make is a tempo that you can take advantage of. We will go more in depth on how to perform some of the actions we discuss in this video as far as body and blade mechanics in future episodes, but for now I want your takeaway to be that gaining the blade is not solely a lead-in to thrusting in opposition. It is a tool that you use to get an advantage, force an action from an opponent, and then hit them while they make that action. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time on Von Tolstat Fight Club.